It's not every day or ever in one's lifetime that you require assistance from employment lawyers, let alone having to go all the way to the courts to battle over your unfair dismissal. But if that's the case for you, I've got some insight to share with you. It is very important that you try and negotiate with your employer and try and work out whatever the dispute is without going to the Fair Work Australia or having to resort to hire a lawyer. So what I'm going to reveal to you at the end of this video is how I found the best employment lawyers and what to look for in the employment lawyers. So first of all, to add you some value here, you want to go on to Fair Work Ombudsman website, and their website is www.fairwork.gov.au, and find out as much as you can what your entitlements are, whether you're right or wrong, and how likely you are to win the case, and not just win the case, and how likely is your case to be viewed by your employer favorably, meaning that your HR department is on your side and they decide to cut you some slack and let you have it your way. So Fair Work Ombudsman is where you want to be. Again, fairwork.gov.au. You can find out about your pay, about leave, about employee entitlements, and one of the most important pages will be your national employment standards. Once you've exhausted all that, you found out as much as you can, you talk to your employer through the HR department, and a word of caution is that HR departments, however friendly they are employed by your employer and they get paid by the employer, and I'm sorry to say, don't want to be negative, but they're there to only help you if you've pushed the case so far that there's not much options for them. And even then, again, hate to be negative, but they will try and screw you over. But if you do end up having to look for employment lawyers the way I did it, when I required employment lawyers, I wasn't going for those big firms, big employment firms, where they specialize, or they don't specialize in employment law, but they do everything, and they just dabble in employment law. Maybe they've got one employment lawyer on staff, where everyone else does different things. They do commercial matters, they do possibly family law, and everything else. So look for someone who specializes in employment law. So when I did that, I went onto Google. Actually, back in the day, I thought to myself, I'm going to have a look at Yellow Pages, the hardcover Yellow Pages book, and try and look for employment lawyers, and try and look for the ones that specialize in employment law unfair dismissal. With me, by the way, it wasn't an unfair dismissal. I was talking to HR, but then they became unreasonable. They basically came back and just said, look, it's our way or the highway. And after doing all the research with Fair Work Australia, I realized that I was in the right, and all I had to do is get the employment lawyers to tell my employer what I've been telling them for the last 6 months. So, but one thing, these are the lawyers that, by the way, didn't have it as good of a site when I needed it. But if you do go onto Google, look for those that are not doing anything else but employment law. And one of those lawyers is McArdle Employment Law. They really helped me immensely. They're located right in the centre of Sydney CBD. They're in Pitt Street. Very easy to get to now. That's not the most important thing when you're looking for employment lawyers. Again, you want to get someone who's the Law Society of New South Wales Specialist Accreditation in employment law, and that's all they work with. So as you can see, their location is in Sydney, Pitt Street, and I highly recommend them. I'm not allowed to say anything more about my case because I've signed a non-disclosure statement. The case is over. I'm very, very happy. I got a very, very nice payout, and I recommend you give them a call and see what they can do for you.